I've been locked up playing Pro Wrestler Story, Kairosoft's newest game, pitting you in charge of rising your very own wrestler from the Weasel Leagues all the way to the main card event. This title has been majorly anticipated from fans, but does this game escape the steel cage and live up to being a fantastic wrestling simulation experience? So let's reveal my review and uncage if this is Kairosoft's best sports title ever made. RKO! In the blue corner, wow, it's Bao! He's eager to evaluate the gameplay of this match. You better live up to the hype, otherwise you can expect a very sternly written Steam review on your game page, but it will still be very polite. In this corner, Kairobot, the ultimate rising star from humble beginnings at a small game development firm. Fight! Yeah, I don't know what I expected. My opponent is literally made out of metal. Pro Wrestler Story is finally here, and I am not alone in thinking that this is one of the most anticipated Kairosoft game releases in history. I mean, just check out all of these comments requesting it in my Kairosoft Game Ideas video. A wrestling strand type game is one of the most requested by the fans. We have already waited long enough for this game, so let's count down the start of this review and get this fight started. To begin with, you are able to customize your own wrestler, which you will guide to superstardom. Having your very own personalized athlete in these sports titles always makes it feel so much more satisfying ranking them up from a novice scrub to winning the major tournaments. My very own wrestler name. Let's see here. How about Walk Bogan?
I'm gonna snap the necks off my opponent's brother, but only after I snap off the seal of this goon sack. Tastes terrible.
No, I don't think so. How about Bao Mysterio? No, far too mysterious wolf energy. How about Bautista? Perfect. Fits like a glove. If you know the wrestler I'm referring to, let me know in the comments below. You're also given the opportunity of assigning a class to your wrestler to begin with. Let's see what the options are here. Karate, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, Gymnast, Rebel, Chef, and Employee. Hold on, wait a second, I see a clear choice here. Chef? My name is Chef. You're telling me my specialty can be finishing my opponents with moves I just cooked up from the kitchen? That's a no-brainer. Bautista is the resident chef of Bao KOs. Well, after all, I am a seasoned fighter. Great to see RPG-like classes introduced here. The more customization options there are in games like this, the better, and you can even assign the remaining skill points to your liking. Sarah Suplex is here to manage Bao KOs. Starting off, we have a small team of 3 amateur wrestlers. Bautista, our head chef, and we also have 2 other fighters, Rumble Riggins and Boulder Briggs. Okay, these guys are quite underwhelming. I should have named myself Bashful Bautista, and we could have been the Alliteration 3. Bao KOs will be unstoppable with us 3 in force. Let's sit back and observe, hey? My absolute favorite. Yes. I too also enjoy taking the absolute longest route to get to my destination. He's just getting some extra cardio in. But now, we can't expect to rise to the top without some training matches. Let's get some practice bouts in and begin some training, and bam! Check out these moves that are being cooked up. Oh dear god, Bautista is having a rough day in the office. He's not down for the count. He's dead. He cooked too close to the sun. Bautista is getting absolutely toasted here. He's getting more scrambled than the eggs that he serves up. While your wrestlers are having a breather from their intense sparring session, you are able to customize the layout of the floor plan of your wrestling facility. It's great to see this sports title in particular have such a robust floor layout gameplay aspect, as this feature is usually skipped in previous sports titles in favor of primarily focusing on the sports mechanics themselves. The floor layout customization includes a gym area for your wrestlers to get yoked to the gills at. I just want to quickly mention how much I adore being able to customize a gym for the fighters. This was also present in Boxing Gym Story, but it's expanded upon a lot more in this title. In my top new Kairosoft games idea video, my most wanted Kairosoft game is a title where you exclusively manage a gym, slowly watching as your gym members hit their goals over time using all sorts of equipment that you lay out. Seeing this aspect partially included in Pro Wrestler Story is amazing, and we could very much be one step closer to my most wanted Kairosoft game idea. So let's lay out some equipment for our wrestlers to get swole, like any good gym having the cardio and weights machine separated into their own areas. That's a great foundation for the gym area, but what else can we customize here? Sarah Suplex to the rescue! If only we had some sleeping quarters for the wrestlers to stay at. Wait a second, I remember we actually have a few spare rooms collecting dust in the closet. Whoa, hold on a second here. You're telling me that you just happened to forget that you had spare rooms stashed away inside a closet? How big is this closet? Who else is in the closet, Sarah? Who else is in the closet? I didn't realize this title was Doraemon's Dorayaki shop story with door gadgets acting as portals to other dimensions. I'm playing the wrong game. Looks like Bautista is feeling a bit peckish. Emergency, emergency. We can't just have our wrestlers be fighting on an empty stomach. They would have already lost half the fight before it began. We've got to get these bozos meal prepping ASAP. Sarah Suplex is here to save the day with a whole bunch of kitchen gadgets and equipment. Wait a second. Don't tell me, Sarah. Where did you coincidentally stumble upon thousands of dollars worth of kitchen equipment? Was it in the closet? It was in the closet. In the closet! In the closet! In the closet! Let's sort out our kitchen area, which will be a staple of Bautista's repertoire, being the pro chef that he is, and make sure these wrestlers are eating more meat and protein than Luffy after a fight. 2 glasses of milk, please. You are also able to expand your wrestling team very early on in the game. We are about to turn this wrestling trio into the most ferocious band of chef wrestlers you have ever seen. Let's see what fresh meat we can recruit here. Macho Maverick and Dynamo Donovan. I'm gonna have to go for Dynamo here. I think Mr. Maverick might be too much of a brand risk. Here at BaoKaos, negotiations are the most important aspect of onboarding new talent. So it is important that we approach our fighters with the most upfront seriousness and professionalism. You're the best. Tickle their ego. Oh, stop it, you. Now that Dynamo has been tickled more than Elmo, he's ready to jump into the ring and spar with our finest. We can even hold a welcoming party to celebrate Dynamo into the team. That's so wholesome. You definitely aren't about to be brutalized and knocked down in the ring mere seconds later after this. No, not at all. The welcome party is just one example of many events that are aspects of the game, which you can hold to boost stats of your fighters to prep for fights. Let's put Bautista to work on what he knows best, grilling up some snags on the barbie to get everyone amped up for the fight. No, not shrimps. Nobody puts shrimps on barbies in Australia. They're prawns. Who even puts prawns on a barbecue anyway? Anyone I know would definitely opt in for sausages. Sassos. Throughout your journey, you'll also collect a bunch of these items from events throughout your game. You could use these on your fighters to buff up certain stats. You actually also need to do this to uncover certain training methods and other features in the game. That's why they included a use all items feature, which is actually hilarious to think about. We're just going to forcibly feed Bautista over 100 items here at once. Open up wide, buddy! Wait a second. What's that sound? A challenger approaches? Ben the Beast Blazer wants some action in the ring with BaoKaos? Ben Mr. Beast Blazer? It just doesn't have the same ring to it. Speaking of rings, I will be seeing you in them very shortly, Mr. Beast, if that's your real name. He thinks he can take on the smoke of BaoKaos Bautista. This is going to be one fight that will be singed into his memory forever. Just before the fight begins, Sarah Suplex will pull out her crystal ball and use Future Sight to reveal how your stats match up against your opponents. This is actually a really good opportunity to fine-tune any specific attributes that are paling in comparison to your rival. Come on, Bautista, you have to do 100 sumo squats in less than an hour. Let's go! Well, this feud cannot be delayed any longer. I'm sick of hearing all the smack talk online over twitmongers and Twitter. It's time to take Mr. Beast to the press conference and see who can truly come up on top in person. Ben Blazer exchanges some tough words directly to my face, but he's all talk and no hype. You fell off, Ben. Just wait till he sees what I have cooked up for him. A meal. A literal meal. I can offer a meal, and that's the best kind of sportsmanship I have ever seen at a pre-fight press conference. Enjoy, Mr. Blazer. I made you a knuckle sandwich. Think fast, chuckle nuts. Just joking, I made you a cake, actually. At least it isn't a poisoned meal like the cake that you can eat in the Glitz Pit from Rock Hawk and Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. Time to cook. Jesse!
Someone cooked here.
Just check out that hype meter. I just finished getting my broccoli haircut and brushing up on my rizzing skills. You had no choice, Ben. Right, that's enough dilly-dally. To the ring, I say. Just before the fight begins, you are able to assign equipment, tactics, and even favorite combos. There's actually a lot we can customize in every fight. It's a great aspect of the game. So let's go ahead and load Bautista with chopsticks, a frying pan for his cooking theme, the villain's primer for that villainous edge, and finally, an anime DVD so he can garner the knowledge of tournament arcs in anime. Let's also buff his tactics and set his signature finishing move combination. Oh yeah, this is exactly what Bautista needs. We have to assign him the invincible drop chopper. That name alone has sold me on how powerful it is by having 3 drops consecutively. I just hope that he doesn't have to yell it out every time before he uses it to fully power up. Otherwise he'll be the master of stalling fights, rather than the master of fighting. But it's finally showtime! Mr. Beast has to put his money where his mouth is to survive against me. Well, luckily he has a lot of money, but it has begun! Of course, the fighting aspects of this title were the most anticipated gameplay aspect I was looking forward to in this game, and boy, it does not disappoint. Your fighter will do a whole variety of show-stopping moves, from launching off the side ropes into attacks, all the way to devastating finishing moves before the pin countdowns. I always typically praise Kairosoft's animations in their games, but this title just takes it to a whole new level, especially the slow-mo zoom-in final attacks. It adds a whole lot of oomph and weight to the combat sections. It's also a nice detail that the crowd size is reflected in the audience as well. Seeing the crowd shout out their support makes the whole segment feel a lot more dynamic. Also throw in the commentator at the bottom announcing all the thrilling aspects of the fight. It's just a great complete package.
Wow, that's an effective hit!
You rock. And here it comes, the moment we have all been waiting for, the invincible drop chopper into the pin. 1, 2, 3, and it's over! Well, this is the point where I have to make up a witty finishing phrase, don't I? Looks like money can't buy you everything, Mr. Ben the Beast Blazer. Back to wrestling challenge videos for you. This, in a nutshell, is a basic overview of the core gameplay of the title, and I have to say it's great to see this sports title have a lot more to do than just the typical sports day event mechanic. Being able to fully deck out and customize your wrestling facility with bedrooms, kitchen utilities, and gym equipment allows for a really unique set of customizing potential. In fact, the entire lineup of 2024 Kairosoft games have really expanded upon the amount of gameplay aspects in each title, adding in additional gameplay mechanics on top of the game's main primary theme. This really does benefit it to be more replayable in the long run, offering up the option to make more diverse headquarter layouts on any given playthrough, or even when you just want to rearrange everything after expanding your grounds. This game just offers a whole variety of fun things to uncover, so let's jump into the game progression of this title. Hold on, before we continue the video, I swear I just heard something. I swear I just heard something from the corner of the room. I can't believe I just heard that you haven't liked the video and subscribed to the channel yet. How are you gonna know when I upload my next video? Make sure you smash the like button if you enjoyed this video today, otherwise this image will haunt you. Let's dive right back into the video, thanks for tuning in. Pro Wrestling Story is Kairosoft's 7th ever sports-focused game, following the not-so-recent Forest Golf Planner. In these sports games, you will be pitted against increasingly challenging rivals throughout the years. In this title, as you progress throughout the game, you'll continue to fight through more challenging leagues with more fierce opponents as you make your way up the ranks. To fully unleash your fighter's potential, you have the ability to unlock and discover even more of the class archetypes that you selected earlier in the game. You are also able to discover the gamer archetype. Yeah, I'm a gamer wrestler. Their signature gaming move will be 1v1ing their opponent in Smash Bros and making them shamefully admit defeat once they get 3-stocked. You will also uncover special training techniques on top of giving your wrestlers items and events as we discussed earlier. My favorite special training technique is the aerial training type where they channel their inner Buddhist to levitate up and down while in a very zesty pose. Paint me like one of your French girls. But for me, personally, I would opt in for the sleeping training schedule. You're telling me that catching a couple of Z's is going to increase my HP each time? Finally, I will have the HP stat of a Blissey with my sleeping sets. And before we know it, we have our next wrestling match lined up. Let's see what we can stir up at the press conference this time. Cook a poisoned donut? Delicious. The what donut? No way, I even made the joke earlier about this, but you can actually make a sabotaged meal to give to them, and it even reduces their HP significantly prior to the fight. Sometimes being a chef provides just the right tools for the job. Ha ha ha. Delightfully devilish, Seymour. This second match played out pretty similar to the first one, but it had by far my favourite attack I had seen yet. Savage Scott was winding up for a killer rope attack, and Bautista, he just walked up and socked him right in the face, knocking him down. That's called the secret training technique, punch. And that's another victory added to Bautista's Kitchen of Pain. Upon completing this fight, we level up, providing the opportunity to allocate more damage to the individual moves used in the ring. Our ultimate move, the invincible drop chopper, is actually named this way as it incorporates 3 drop kicks as referenced in the name, so buffing up our individual drop kicks will do wonders for our fighting technique. The combo moves feature is actually an ingenious way to add a bunch of attack variety to your fighter's move pool. Once you've selected a variety of special combos to use, you can then focus on training the individual moves that make up these combos that are used most often to add some serious damage output to your fighter. To gain access to more challenging fights, the main goal of this title is to increase the star ranking of your facility, similar to other Kairosoft games that we have seen before. This is done through a variety of goals that you can access from the menu to view at any time. A lot of the requirements revolve around competing in wrestling matches and your overall popularity, so it's good to see that the wrestling exhibition matches are a vital part of the game. I really like that you can fast forward during the wrestler introductions during a match, but it's a shame that you also can't do this for the actual fights themselves. As you will have to compete in so many matches, this definitely does bog down the game a fair bit, waiting and watching for each KO each match. As you continue to climb your way up the ranks, you'll occasionally get a notification that a previously defeated opponent is gearing for a rematch. I've been eating 6 meals per day. Dear God, this man is on the Nikado avocado grind. 2 steps ahead. I am always 2 steps ahead. Well, luckily, it just so happens to be that I've been getting my steps in on my treadmill each day, so let's take him up on this offer. 2 steps behind. I am always 2 steps behind. You can also compete in 2 other types of wrestling matches. The next major type is the 2v2 tag team event. These matches unfortunately don't offer as much of a difference compared to the standard mode, with it being the same format of 1 fighter per team in the ring, with the chance that a fighter that is struggling swapping out with their partner, fully charged with maximum health, ready to continue the fight. The final fight type is the 6-player rumble. Again, these allow 2 additional tag-ins per fight. But even with this mode, I did find that most of the matches would usually end in a similar fashion to the standard matches, with the first 2 fighters duking it out in the ring, fighting until a successful pin without even a tag-in. It would have been so great if you could have 4 and 6 player matches in the ring at any time, fully releasing havoc on each other, but it is a nice touch seeing a tag partner come flying in to save you just as you're about to be pinned out. The ultimate wingman. The last major competition to enter in are the major tournament matches. Acting similar to the rank up requirements, these have mandatory conditions needing to be met before entering and participating. When entering a tournament, you will have round-robin matches with multiple opponents spread out over multiple weeks, with the final fight being against the reigning champion of the league. Moving on to the unique features and quirks of this game, there aren't a significant amount of fully unique gameplay mechanics exclusive to this title, but there are a couple of nice additions that I wanted to touch on. The first and likely strongest unique feature to this game is all of the amazing character designs and references to wrestling culture throughout the game journey. You will run into more colourful and amazingly designed characters than usual, very similar to the recent Doraemon Dorayaki Store story, as both of these games titles incorporate references and characters from the media universe they are from. A great example of this is the first tournament champion in the game and one of the first difficult fights you'll encounter, Harry Hopton. This guy is a serious threat in the ring, but with enough preparation and careful training, you'll be able to muster out the courage to take his championship belt. I guess that was the fight that really made him croak.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Another fighter that I just thought was so hilarious was Stone Cold Steve Tofu. Stone Cold Steve Tofu. I mean, that is just so peak. Such an amazing reference and creative spin on the character inspirations. The next major quirk unique to this title is the sheer amount of customization present for the wrestling fighting matches. Being able to individually upgrade attacking moves, strategies, and character-specific combos comprised of other individual attacks is a really great system. The special combos in particular allow for creating almost infinite unique finisher moves. It's super satisfying to see your character land your chosen combo move after move, and then land a successful pin takedown in the ring. It has got to be one of the best Kairosoft sports features to date. Auras return and are implemented a slight tad differently in this game. Instead of occurring randomly as your characters freely roam around, they are now prominently activated at random when using items or training, providing a significant increase in the amount of rewards received. Before I jump over to cover what I think could be improved about this title, let's briefly discuss the music and sound effects of this game. I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised that this soundtrack has continued Kairosoft's recent trend of making much more high quality music scores. Specifically with the amount of instrument variety and overall catchiness and less repetition there are in each of the tracks. The longer length songs go a long way. Just listen to how catchy the day-to-day theme is when overseeing your daily gym operations. And nothing quite gets the blood pumping like the tournament fight music track. This one in particular is another great step in the right direction of the usual tunes and really fits the tension and action-packed atmosphere. Not only is the music more amazing, but all of the sound effects used in this game really pack a punch and sound like they have a lot more weight to them when the wrestlers are thrown around and slammed into the ring. It really heightens the immersiveness of the game. Now lastly, let's cover what I think can be improved in this title, and I have to admit, overall this is an amazing sports simulation game with very little to criticize. My main criticism for this game is also similarly shared unanimously with almost every Kairosoft sports game to this date, and it is still apparent as a minor issue in this game. I am of course referring to how the actual wrestling matches require little to no user interaction at all. The fights almost play out as if they are pre-rendered movies, with the only action command required from the user being the pin and break out of pin hold button, where you just hold or mash. I will definitely give credit where credit is due. The extra flashy effects of the final moves animations, combos, and the announcer and the stadium all make the experience tremendously better than previous titles. But the gameplay of these segments is still unfortunately very one note, with the user essentially just watching a cutscene and pressing a single button once throughout the fight. Some people may enjoy this feature, others may not like it, but as a majority of the game takes place within these fight scenes, I just wish there was slightly more button input, mashing or holding buttons during these fights to really make it feel like you were actually controlling the character, rather than just watching them. The only other main issue ties into this point. I mentioned it earlier that you can't increase the speed of the fight themselves, but you can for the wrestler intros right before. As there are so many fights to get through, it would be a massive help to be able to speed up the fight time in the early game before unlocking the faster mode later on, when completing the title. And there we have it. I have laid out my review all over the table, just like how wrestlers are thrown into those destructible tables in the WWE. Let's open the Money in the Bank suitcase to reveal my final review of the game. Pro Wrestler Story is one of Kairosoft's finest sports games in their expansive game library. In this game, you're able to manage the ins and outs of your very own wrestling facility, customizing the gym equipment, kitchen, and other buildings layout to build your dream wrestling emporium. This game in particular introduces so many amazing new colourful wrestler characters, referencing the wrestling fandom that they hail from, alongside all of Kairosoft's iconic traditional characters. It's a great blend of new and old characters. The wrestling aspect of this game introduces a huge amount of adjustable moves and combos shown off in flashy and stylish, visually impressive fight scenes, but the fighting gameplay itself is a tad disappointing. This game is the ultimate treat for wrestling fans with countless references, huge amounts of tournaments and matches to claim the championship belt in, and overall a lot of content to uncover. This game wrestles up a strong 9 pro wrestling stories out of 10. All in all, it's safe to say that Pro Wrestler Story lived up to the hype of being one of Kairosoft's most fan-requested games of all time. The concept alone just sets it apart as a super unique sports title that will appeal to even those who aren't fans of wrestling entirely, with its vast amount of content and charming characters to uncover. In fact, this game was so popular in Japan, it rose to the first place of the Japanese Apple App Store upon release. And this just brings me so much joy, as I initially discovered Kairosoft back in 2010 through seeing Game Dev Story trend on the Apple App Store ratings. It's great to see Kairosoft games being recognized more, and it couldn't have been at a better time. Kairosoft's recent games have been truly some of their best games ever made. Pro Wrestling Story, Doraemon Dorayaki Shop Story, Dreamtown Island, and Pocket Academy 3 are truly among the best games they have ever produced, in my opinion. So that's why I believe that Pro Wrestler Story definitely defends its title of being the best Kairosoft sports game made, at least as of yet. Who knows what sports game they will make next? If you have a particular sports game you would like to see them make, let me know in the comments below. So what did you think about my video review and the game itself? Have you been wrestling with the idea of picking it up? Thanks so much as always for supporting the channel by watching to the end. Comment Bautista loves Stone Cold Tofu to let me know that you watched the entire thing. A big shout out to everyone here on the screen that requested that I review this title and also guessed it correctly from my community post teaser image. Let me also know what you think about this game and if there's any particular Kairosoft game you would like me to review next. Thanks again for watching, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.